Good evening, this is the Water Commissioners meeting for March 17th, is it? March 13th, 2014. In attendance are the commissioners, and we have our superintendent, our administrative assistant, and we're blessed with the presence of our primary operator tonight. So, first order of business is approval of the minutes for 2/25/14. Do you have any problems with that?
No.
Roy, you weren't here. It was me and Stu, I believe, wasn't it? February 25th, I'm talking about.
I read them anyway. February 25th.
Yeah.
Just had up here.
So, you got some comments on it?
I'm fine with
Okay, do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
them. I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes of January 25th.
I'll second it. All in approval?
Aye.
Aye. And Roy abstains, he wasn't there. Okay, the minutes for the March 4th meeting.
I'll make a motion, we approve the meetings for the March 4th meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. You
I abstain. I wasn't there. Next order of business is warrants and invoices for approval.
That's first. There we go.
You've already gone through these?
I have not, I just looked at these.
All right, account temps,
372.
That'll probably be the last bill. That was for Jeanette.
okay.
Ainsbury Industrial, 6997.
They're in the minutes review.
AT&T, 6178. Wireless pad charges. Commonwealth of Mass. Registry bill for 9 weeks. 675. Fuel for the motel. $1,163.01.
Okay, let's see. Okay, there's a few. I thought we looked at this. Did we look at this last week? Or 2 weeks ago? Oh, we look at the January bill.
This is February.
Yes, that'd be good.
Holden, 234 gallons, $736.96. Another one for 263.2 gallons for $813.29.
What are these things for? What
For
buildings?
the building.
Which one? This building here, or?
401 Central Street, the first one. Second one says 401 Central too.
That's what it built.
We have propane at well 3 and 5 for the heat and for the generator, as well as the heat
So
here.
let's see which one it is.
Well 2 is natural gas, the treatment plant is natural gas.
They're at the 401 Central Street, says it on them all. That's where it comes, because that's where the bill comes. But today, where did they put it? $800, $736. A week apart.
You don't use gas here, do we?
Yes, we use propane.
315 and 36.
There you
Same account.
go. It doesn't say,
The point is that
Does it-
it's
does
pretty
it-
similar.
You need to know where
They
they
heat
put
the
it.
well, is they heat this office.
80130. See, this is two separate accounts,
Yep.
79344 and 80130. That's 401 Central.
They both say
They don't have
401
the
Central.
dates.
It's for,
Accounts, oh, so that-
There's the account down here.
yeah. That would be 23
They're calling them the same account. I didn't do anything with propane when I was working in the budget, so I'm not sure where they are.
Point
I
is,
figure those are
They
gonna stay
usually
the
say-
same.
They usually say the address. This is, we usually say the address of where it's being used.
well, it could be two separate months.
No, it's a week apart.
222 and 304. Yeah, it is two separate buildings, though. I gotta double, it would have, fall by
Yeah, you get 311 and 320.
2017.
311 and 320.
Well, 303, 2014, 03, 1114 it says.
Number
So that one goes back to back in,
80130.
I don't know, this transition that goes with it all.
I just want to, I believe this is two locations, but I just want to make sure that because they're 2 weeks apart, that one isn't included in the other.
Well, it might be like oil deliveries, they figure out degree days, and then they figure out when to fill that tank up, and it's, see, the price is the same as the office building. If it was the same period of time that the gas was provided, then I would say there's something a little bit strange about that, but it's probably, they just figure on when to fill the propane tank, I guess.
Schedule, yeah.
And so it might be covering a different period for both different locations.
I've got a
If
note.
that was during the cold spell, they may have been coming 2 weeks apart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so maybe we ought to just
Possible.
double check, what do we have to run the temperature on those pump houses at, you know?
50.
We're trying to run them around 60.
Yeah, well, we got controls to worry about and things like that. All right,
We have a lot of small lines in there. Those are
I just double checked to make sure we didn't double pay.
I think that's probably both fills here.
That's what it reads, actually.
okay. So next one, Ryan.
Built and cat. Part service machines, also in the gaskets.
You gotta put a hole on that, Mark?
Yeah, let me double check.
So you gotta scratch that off and rechange the thing here?
If that's the case, Glenn, that's a lot of fuel in 10 days. But
Oh, that's why we put the 500 gallon tank in, wasn't it? Just because you were going through the
263
three
gallons,
150s.
and 230,
Yeah.
Worn out.
Yeah,
134.
I'm trying to remember back to July, August when we did that.
It's not
well, maybe,
that-
it might make it sense to revisit the
We're not gonna-
temperatures that we have to
we're
keep
not
them.
gonna-
Those were the
to see
very
the
cold
attacks.
weeks.
Like I said,
Exactly, you know what,
that I think is this.
Yeah,
Makes
right.
sense.
Yeah, the price went up too.
Yeah,
Yeah, this looks like two separate deliveries,
Okay.
but I'll double check and then we'll set it.
Yeah,
I
so we're
would
just
say
next.
it's two separate deliveries
Yeah.
because
435 Able Street, February's 151.45.
What is it?
Do you want it?
National Grid.
It was cold that time, and it is a lot of building.
It's the next one.
Can we use it all as soon as we open the door to take out the plow? With the cat and the truck?
435 Hale Street. And a 435 gas charge. From National Grid.
That's fine.
There's,
Must be out
National Grid has 2 meters and 2 services at 435 Havel Street. One for the pump house and one for the pump house and generator, and one for the chem building. That much I did figure out going through the natural gas bills.
You're in alphabetical order, they're supposed to be.
There's no National Grid bill
right
right
here.
here.
These are National Grid.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, what is it?
One for 151.45 and the other one's 72.62.
Okay.
And you got one from Pennachuck.
Wait, I'll get this.
It's 2 different buildings, he says.
Chemical and pump. Okay, Pennachuck?
Pennachuck, March 2014 monthly contract services, $5,166.66.
Okay. That's the new contract, right, huh?
Correct.
So we
We're
prepaid.
gonna talk about that tonight, yeah. That's for part of the changeover. I'll give details later.
Prestige Water Solutions, $826.92.
What's it called?
Pristine,
Prestige Water
Okay.
Solutions,
that's the polyphosphate to the wells.
SPE Incorporated hose clamps, hose, 624/44.
That's the generator repair that's now the well 3 generator that was at well 5.
Then they have another one from them for filter motor oil and outside lab, $375.97.
And that's the service, the generator at well 2.
I got the Sam's Club, $95.68.
What did we buy that?
Who's been on Sam's Club?
Not me.
Sam's Club membership and service.
This
Oh,
is 3
that's
people
the
who would spend money.
That's the
Oh,
membership
the
and
membership,
service.
right. Well, I think they canceled that anyway, but,
Should we tell them to get lost or what?
we're not really sure why we have that account. We know that we've got a dispute with them, we want a credit back on some returned items. They want to give us credit towards purchasing more items. We were actually thinking of canceling the account just to get the credit back. And I'm not sure, do you know why we don't even
The
know.
only thing that I know that John used to get from Sam's was the cheap paper towels that we use out in the
Yeah.
walls, the rolls.
That was it, so.
Why don't
I
you,
used to get window
Why don't you
cleaner,
take this off?
different cleaners and stuff.
Okay.
Say
Yeah,
goodbye to them.
cleaners and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
we don't need it. I mean, I think.
It's up to you.
Towels, so-
It's up to you. If we need paper
Supplies and
towels,
such.
we don't need to go to the.
Yeah, you used to buy the hand cleaner, I know the rags, all that kind of stuff.
So we're gonna scratch that one. What is it, Sam's?
I don't think we should do away with it, but
And if they won't give us the credit back, we'll load up on
Paper towels, okay.
because we got paid 3 times more someplace else.
Well, they're CVS has sales.
Well,
Market
right,
does.
market does.
I don't have this
Yeah.
stuff that
We have a
Sam
Walmart
says.
account.
Yeah, it says you've got a
We
Walmart
can
card.
get paper towels somewhere. We haven't figured out, that these are the three people who would spend money here. And, who would buy
So,
stuff.
but I mean, he bought a lot of shop supplies, he bought oil over there and everything else.
Yeah, it
You
could
know, he
be,
saved a lot of money.
over where, that's it.
It's
Sam's,
Sam's.
yeah. That's where he got the cases of oil off there, instead of going to Napa and paying $3 a quart, and was getting
Okay, well,
them.
that would make sense, but we didn't know that. Do you think we should keep the account?
I think we do.
So $95 to buy, you know, slightly cheaper oil, I don't know.
No,
Well,
but
Like-
all the cleaning supplies for the garage and the pump stations, the oil, he was buying oil.
We pay a
and
cleaning
diesel.
service to come in here, pay up, so.
They don't come in and clean up.
What do they want, $95?
For the membership.
I don't think it's worth it, so.
yeah.
That's for 1 year.
We haven't been, if it's a tool, we haven't been using it as a tool. If it's a good tool, then we don't know that.
I think that,
How
we
often,
save a lot of money with things, you know.
Why is there so
how
much?
often, what's the last time you
That's what it
recall
costs to-
showing up on these
Just
warrants?
to get your membership
This would
card.
be the-
This is like a yearly membership thing. They pay
No.
every year.
So we don't use it
Pay
that
that.
often.
John always did.
Well,
Yeah.
he's gone.
But he bought all the shop supplies, rags, you know, like the red rags and stuff out of there.
35, 40.
The heavy duty hand cleaner came out of there, you got motor oil over there, grease over there.
But I thought the
Well,
heavy
you wanna
duty
wait
hand
till
cleaner
it's-
came from state.
Huh?
I thought the 16 cases of hand cleaner came from state.
Well, maybe the last time he did, I don't know.
There's a bunch out there.
Let's move on with it. Stu, let's make it a takeover vote. Do we want to have, do we have a motion that we want to, maybe, get a closer place for paper towels and grease supplies and stuff? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we cancel the membership to Sam's.
Okay, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. One nay?
You spend a man over there, you use an hour and a half, labor.
Okay,
Oh,
Univar.
we do it for the right guy, he stops on his way in from work, or home from work.
Chemicals,
Yeah.
465.88.
We can always continue it again another time if we need to.
Petty cash,
Postage. Petty cash.
postage stamp, envelope, car wash, 101.89. Version.
So just to get the refund back.
Telemeter monthly charge, 121 to 220, 34.73.
And features is still on $75 a year for 3
Another
years.
one for 38.80.
So petty cash to be replaced, what do we do, how do we get the petty cash replaced?
They issue a check, and just go to the bank and cash it and put it back in the safe.
Okay.
It's mostly postage.
Yeah, certified mail, postage.
Well, the membership fee is $45.
Yeah.
Then they come up with a service fee for $50.
Good luck with that.
That's the total deal we got. $15,234.77.
So what you gotta do is change the total here, you're gonna get rid of that Sam's Club membership, and you're gonna get rid of cap for this warrant.
Yeah, and else I'll take care of that.
You get the Verizon bills, are they on there?
Yeah, I just put them on. You got one for 34.73, 38.80, 34.73, 34.73.
Okay. This is the total. Okay, you all done with that? So, yeah. Where's the stack? Right there. You wanna do that right now? Maybe Carmen can do that right now, we can get this thing signed tonight.
What, remove those,
We'll move those two things. You got a calculator?
Take the instruction in after this.
Yeah, it's fine.
I put 15,234.77 in there.
Yeah.
51, so is it?
15,234.77.
Yep.
Minus 3,318. .26 equals, and then you minus
Okay. Okay, we got minus what else?
95.68.
Yeah, the same bill, bill and the same bill.
I just want to glance at the Caterpillar.
This one?
He still has it on there too.
No.
I don't have any issue with the rest of the bill, just with the Board of Quarrels. And the $600 just to get here.
Is that cheap?
What's this?
234.77.
I just need approval. Ask Carmen about
Take
those,
away
but they came from downtown.
that 95 and another one.
I believe that they have to do with the SRF
9568.
loans.
Doesn't that come in after the construction meeting?
Yeah, and which we just had one. And I think,
There's only one, right?
question
This
is,
thing's making us
who's gonna be
money.
signing it, this and that. I signed the major package, and she needed to sign that, and she sent these up individually.
When did we receive this package?
Yeah.
Today?
From downtown, I
568.
believe today, this is the first time I've seen it. You can ask Carmen where he's at.
Has John Hardware's gone through that?
Okay. Write that down so we don't lose it.
Maintenance 25.
He went,
15, 13.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
What was that other
I
one?
believe so, 'cause
I believe this was all from the last meeting.
2388.
Let me know, please.
Yes, go
28.26.
325?
1182. 0.83.
Look at that.
Is something up?
Look at that.
We win the prize.
I win the prize.
I bet she's on a free count.
Bob doesn't need a calculator, he has your
That's right.
It says Carmen about this one, how busy.
Oh,
These are pretty straightforward. These are
You
the
gotta
ones
keep
that
doing
I have
that,
to
otherwise
get done.
you won't be able to survive without a calculator. You gotta sign, so you
Oh,
gotta,
yeah.
yeah, what is it?
you're gonna go to Newark, Rosanna.
Well,
You can do this.
I don't think we, if I initial these corrections,
Mhm.
then we can get this thing through, okay? We don't have to spend time doing
Very good.
that. Okay, so it goes down from 15 to this.
I was waiting for that cat bill, actually.
Hmm?
I was waiting for that cat bill. I didn't see it. Checking the numbers.
You got a question?
I do. This package came down today
Yes, it did.
from
The
who?
contract for the water plant, correct? Is that the,
Well, it's related to that, yeah, but who did it come from?
came from the accounting office
You too? With which instructions?
to have the commissioners sign off on it?
Okay, then she's got the X marks the spot here. Oh, okay, these go.
Those are just backups to
Take
check.
them one by one, that one needs to be signed.
What do you want this, this is ready
Thank
to
you,
go.
sir. That actually does the work.
Thanks.
Where's this one here?
This is,
I know what it is, but I mean, there's no.
that's correct. Well, let's see.
He did. Highways did not send it to him, but
They should
I
get
think that's true. I think this is a form that,
To the, because it would take them out of school.
no.
Missed too many days in
That's
school
all.
before you left. It's happened. So many-
this one.
this is usually a
Yes, sir.
package, we sign one thing.
Did you go through the Kinsman bill? Did John go through the Kinsman bill?
Yes, he did that before the last construction meeting, went for everything, said it was fine.
Okay.
And that's, we signed off on those. Looking at this a little more closely, this has to do with, let's see, there's several things here. One you just signed for the SRF, I believe. This is for Weston and Sampson's bill for the month. And this is billing backup. Sorry, I'm just getting this, so. Just looking to see what
You wanna hold off on that and have us come in a couple of days and sign it for it after you've gone through it?
Why don't we do that?
And you know what, we meet next week, so we can do it then.
And we'll throw, make sure it's all set instead of rushing.
Yeah, it's not clear that there's several separate things here, and it just came in the mail, so we really should look at it.
Let's just let you look at it a little more, okay?
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, put that there.
Okay. These are straightforward purchase orders for chemicals. Let me get a blanket order in place, we won't have to do this every month.
Park Cross,
Chemicals, treatment chemicals.
Currently for 2 and 5.
so is this the consortium prices?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got our kickoff meeting for the consortium today. We're gonna put together all the changes that we've got, what we're gonna have for this
Good.
next bid. They hope to have the bids out the middle of next month and back and awarded by the middle of May, or the end of May at the latest, so that we can have 4 weeks to set up our accounts with whoever the new low bid is.
Now, we won't be able to go through that blanket one, with the new chemicals.
The consortium? Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I gotta feed them the new chemicals. Some plants are using some of the same stuff that we're gonna use. There's a couple on there that are different than anybody else is using, so we don't know whether we'll get any decent bid price on it.
What's this?
That's I believe that's a quotation that was this, right?
Which one is that?
Chemicals?
No, that's the new one that, you and I gotta talk about, that's just a requisition, it doesn't,
Yeah,
doesn't
Oh, okay,
reach
this is not for you,
Look
it's
at,
not.
that's okay, so the warrants and the invoices are reviewed. Are we done with that? Mark?
The warrant and invoices, yes.
Okay. Next item is the fiscal year 15 budget.
Okay, I had a meeting, I was at the meeting today with the fiscal team, and we reviewed our budget and different items. There's, as you know, there's multiple sources of information coming from different areas, and we're working on getting all those done. I asked Glenn to come tonight because he's been researching one of the things that will change, which is the chemicals because of the new treatment plant, energy requirements, so on and so forth. While he's been doing that, I've been trying to put together and go through records and come together with the financial things. Almost have a full draft together. Part of the meeting today was to do that. I do have a schedule that a week from Monday, 24 March, there'll be a joint water board and selectmen board meeting to present the draft budget for the water department. On Monday or Tuesday, I'll be meeting with individuals of the fiscal team with my first draft, complete draft, to refine it. And on Thursday afternoon, I'll meet again with and you're invited to come if you'd like, with the fiscal team again for Thursday, so that we'll be ready to talk about and approve the meeting at Thursday night at our meeting here, and that will give everybody a few days before the joint meeting to get papers in order, so on and so forth. So that's the schedule.
Next Thursday?
Next Thursday will be, we would need another water board meeting next Thursday night. And then next Thursday afternoon, I'll be meeting with the fiscal team again, yes. So lots gonna happen between now and then too.
So we're gonna have a water board meeting before you meet with the fiscal team or after?
Before.
And
I'm sorry, right after. And, both on Thursday, but we meet Thursday night at 6 o'clock.
I'd like to attend that meeting, because I had some, I was there with all the meetings last year, maybe I should attend this meeting.
And Debbie asked if you would like to go.
Okay.
It's a 1 o'clock meeting on Thursday.
Okay.
Let's see what else.
You just gotta be careful we don't cut the maintenance budgets we had this year for fixing the trucks, like we did last year.
So what do we have, can we go over our maintenance budget right now? Is it draft?
Well, you can go part of the, one of the topics is that, one of the topics I just mentioned, which is the chemicals and energy requirements will change. The other topic is that one reason why it's a little complicated this year, for many reasons, but one of the main reasons is that this is the first year, FY14 was the first year we did breakouts. Like a lot of the, in FY13, there were a lot of individual lines that were an accumulation of items without much detail. FY14 was the first time we broke them out, but they were best guesses. So what it means is we don't have a lot of history to go on. We just got this year. So we want to make sure we don't shoot ourselves in the foot and cut ourselves short. I think we're a little underspent this year while we're getting some other things in line. But we do want to make sure that we're not over budgeted as well. But according to the instructions for the general instructions from the select board is that it would be a level budget. Pretty much the same what you asked for last year. You're going to get this year, or you should ask for. Salaries salaries would go up for non-union maybe 1%. And union salaries or wages would go according to the union contract schedules, which means it's pretty clear. The only difficulty for us, again, is trying to glean history from just 1 year of breakouts. We might it shouldn't be that hard. Some of the items I'm getting help with, such as retirement numbers and things that I don't really get into every day. And Debbie's sending me some of that stuff. And so I'm hoping to have a first full draft together on Monday. and Monday.
Okay.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And I did ask Glenn to come to talk in detail about the chemicals and the energy.
We have to tighten the belt, I feel, a bit, because I watched this finance committee meeting the other night in the schools. They want, you correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, another 3 million?
They want, that was their wish list.
Right.
They initially were sending us a bill for $498,000, which was 83% of new growth. And then last night, they did vote on a budget. Our assessment is less than 498. Don't quote me, but I'm thinking it's in the 360-ish area, 360, 380-ish area. So they,
What percent would that be?
We just all have to try our best. There's so many people, there's so many folks in town on 150
what
income.
percentage of what?
Increase from last year.
We,
I don't know.
I just don't understand, they get all that free cash and they don't wanna use any of it. They kinda help out a
It
little
was,
bit.
yeah, they have $750,000 in their
It's
certified.
nice to have a nice little rainy day account, but, you know, help us out a little bit.
They
huh?
needed it, you know, they needed absolutely, but they were only going to use $68,000 of it
but
and keep the rest. So I think that has been altered, but I wasn't at the meeting. This is
Okay,
just what I'm
so-
hearing secondhand.
Just, we're going to, yeah, Glenn, with, what did you want to say?
Out on the street, there are many people hemorrhaging financially on fixed incomes and so forth. We have to do our best. And I'm only one vote, but if I had my way, I would cut the water rates 5%. Just what this water department's been through to show some good faith.
Well, that was one of the discussions, or topics of discussion. In principle, we are separate from the tax base, so we really can't do, we can do much on it. We can do something on, for the water rates the best we can, as the way you describe it, is help out one way or another, but we can't, we're not mixing the two budgets. But let me say that we are looking at not just expenditures, but water rates as well. We want to make sure they're not too high, but we also want to make sure they're enough. And they're suggesting, they gave me a reference of someone, I think you have it too.
Yeah, Roberts.
Yeah, to have someone come in and who's done this professionally before, worked on rates.
They worked for us in the past, so.
And yes, that same person.
So-
Bring them in.
Once we get what we think our budget is, that'll be the time to have him look at it, I think. Have we made any calls in that direction
Um,
to see if he'd be available to do some?
This was at 1:30 this afternoon.
Okay.
I haven't had time to.
You haven't done it yet?
I will do it tomorrow.
I know a couple other people that do that too. We use Pioneer over in Georgetown to.
Well, this person that we've used before he's somewhat familiar with our system, and he's well renowned, and we want to make sure that our expenditures are in balance with our revenues. And to do as Stu was saying, to make sure that we're not overcharging.
Exactly.
But also to make sure that we've got enough money too.
So we do have a lot more categories. Did they suggest that these preliminary meetings, they have more categories, or they happy with the categories we have right now?
They're happy with the categories we have. It's just that FY14 has more breakouts than before.
Yeah.
So that those have to be refined. One other item that I didn't mention tonight is we have an existing capital improvement plan, and we may want to look at that. I think we did briefly at the last meeting, and we may want to revise that. But that's We don't have all that in a spreadsheet format yet. It's a lot of bits and pieces of information of background information, and that should be assembled early next week. It has to be. It'll be done my goal is to have it done by Monday morning.
Okay.
Just for example, last year this time, the board was looking for $45,000 for fuel for the trucks. And we all screened and cut it down. It was cut down to 25,000. And that's certainly too much now, because at the end of December, you used about $3,500. So if you went to July 1, that would be 7,000. And if you used a little more in spring, what, say 10, and the pickup truck's not being used much. What I'm trying to say is you could cut that down to $15,000 or $16,000 on the fuel.
What pickup truck's not being used much?
The 150.
About daily, isn't it?
Yeah, around town, yeah, but
But
It doesn't.
I took it today to Littleton.
That's
The
fine.
only
But
thing
it
you
doesn't
be
go
careful
out.
about cutting down the gas and
It's
oil
not
ones.
being used.
We don't know where it's gonna go. You know.
It's not, well, this $25,000 is ridiculous.
In general, if I may, there are a lot of refinements. Part of the reason why this has been taking us so long is a lot of refining to do. We may not be able to get it done in 1 year, it may trickle over to next year, but we're trying to zero in because there was a big change last year and we don't have the history to go by. You just cited,
I haven't seen that sheet either.
you have,
No, I mean, we don't know where the gas and oil's gonna go, so we gotta be careful
That
and
too.
cut that too.
okay, you just mentioned a couple of numbers. That the process you just did is what we're doing with a lot of things. Is we're looking at it in the short history we have, and then we're doing our own calculations. There are a lot of numbers that are being refined this year.
When I'm saying the 150 doesn't get used like it used to
Right.
for commuting. And just a few things like that. This 25,000 can be cut quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a few of those.
There's a few items that could be doing that.
That's why
Yeah,
it's
the capital improvement we had approved from last year, was any of that spent? We're talking about hydrant replacement,
Some of the items we've done.
replace them, or just
I mean,
because
we've
of
done
the
this
accident,
past year.
calling them
We'll
out?
replace the one down the common.
Yeah.
Some of it is, we're going to spend this in
One
most
of them on our dime. But with only one guy or two guys, it's tough to just go out and replace the hydrants that all the old Roberts that need to be replaced.
I believe we had in the budget for 4 hydrants.
Four hydrants, right. We started looking at the capital a couple weeks ago, maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and I found out then that it doesn't get carried over, and I assumed incorrectly that it's already encumbered, but it's not encumbered. If you don't use it, you lose it. So that's when we spent the money for the well number 2 drive.
Yeah.
Well number 2, VFD drive. We did some research on that as well and found out that we can't regenerate that, well, what's the right word?
Redevelop.
Redevelop. We can't redevelop that pump until the fall, just the way things are going. So we'll let the rest of that money wash out and then put it in the budget for next year. What hydrant money we have left, we can buy spare hydrants and put them in when we have time. But in general, we're trying to spend the money that we need. We don't want, there were only 4 items. Valves, there were valves, hydrants, cleaning the well, and there was
How bad are our
Clean
hydrants?
the tank.
and the tank, we believe we
How bad are the
can spend
hydrants?
that.
How many?
We've got 30 of the Roberts out there that are pre-65. Some of them were 1941 when the system was
Yeah.
put in,
48.
48 when the system was put in. Those are the ones we've been trying to go after first.
The old woods.
The old woods.
Yeah.
I said Roberts, didn't sorry,
Just talk.
the old woods. We have got a list of all the hydrants in town and their ages. We have some that don't drain, that we have to go around and pump out or thaw out and pump out.
Do
Some of the-
you have any numbers on how many ones that are really in bad shape we need to do anything with them?
All of the Roberts, all of the woods, I mean, I did it again. And one of the things that I asked Rob about, and one of the things that we're gonna try to put together a list of when we do hydrant flushing, is all of the hydrants that are so low to the ground that the fire department can't get their storage adapters on. And there's probably half a dozen of them that I can think of right now. And they're the older ones that don't have the traffic models, so you can't just put an extension on the top of them and raise them up.
Plus you have to put a new hydrant.
We'll have to buy some 6.5 foot Barry hydrants in order to raise them up.
And as you,
There's some old Kennedys and stuff. That's the list of hydrants that we have in town. And we started going through some of the too low ones.
Now, if we got into a system where we're using the same kind now, so we don't have a bunch of different ones.
We're using a waterless, and I found a reference to a year or two ago, you had a meeting and declared that they were gonna use just the waterless.
okay, because I found a similar letter that said we were going to a different brand, but,
Yeah.
yeah, but we discussed this, I don't know if you were at this meeting, we discussed a couple of meetings ago that we need a water hydrant policy. On one hand, we want to standardize, on the other hand, we don't want to have just one brand and then something happens and we're not getting a competitive edge. So we should probably go up with 2 or 3 brands and then go from there. But that's what I was looking. Well, I was looking for that from you. However, I found previous boards have already ruled on this, so we can go. Yeah.
November 15th, 2011, Article 5, Section 3J, the hydrants would all be the same.
Now,
On one brand.
if we went to different brands,
The waterless WB 67.
say one got in an accident, got hit, we one of the other, if we went to a different brand, so we got 2 or 3 different brands, you'll hook onto that in emergency, or you gotta have the same kind?
No, they're all attached to a 6-inch pipe.
So
They're all attached to a 6-inch pipe with a 6-inch mechanical joint. The old ones are leaded joints, and some of the ones that are on transite pipe, we have to use the Hymax adapters on in order to marry the transite to the ductile iron. But they're all 6-inch branches. So once you dig it up, once you dig the ground up, it doesn't make any difference which hydrant you've got. It's the internal parts, or if somebody just knocks off the top of it. All of the new hydrants that we're using are highway breakaway models. So that if somebody hits one hard, it breaks off at ground level, but you don't have to dig it up. The old ones, a lot of the B50s that are in town, the Kennedys, and those woods, they're solid barrel hydrants all the way to the ground. So when somebody hits one of those, like the one that got hit up on Haverhill Street, it ends up kicking the barrel over and it ends up twisting the bolts at the bottom of the hydrant and bending the flange at the bottom of the hydrant, so it leaks through the valve at the bottom of the hydrant. So then you gotta dig it up and replace it anyway.
The breakaway was also mentioned, and I found a standard from a few years ago, signed off by the board, that we gave to contractors, and they said they should all be one brand, but it was a different brand. But it doesn't matter, it should be the breakaway, so you don't have to dig it up and replace it.
Well, we wanna make sure they're all breakaways, no matter what brand it is.
Exactly, yeah, that's my point, yeah.
So should we focus on all the non-breakaway hydrants first?
I would focus on
Or the ones that are too
all the
low?
low ones first,
Okay.
Oh, I see.
and then, I'd like to get rid of the ones that don't drain.
Yeah, exactly. The ones that freeze up, they're not usable during a fire.
Some of them are, they may have come with no drains, and some of them may be poor installation. Concrete got around the drain weeps. There's a handful of them in town that we have to pump out every fall.
Oh, really?
And we go back and check them again. Towards the end of the year, we went around in December to check and make sure that they were draining water. 3 of them were weeping, filled the barrels and froze. That woods that we were buying out the day you went by.
Or down
Down
by
on
the
Main
ball
Street.
place.
And then we had 2 others on developments that froze up.
So how do you tell that they're froze up? Because you see
Check 'em.
icicles? Hanging off
By the
the
time you
side?
see icicles, it's usually because it's frozen and broken the coupling inside it.
So how do you tell the leak? They're filled up.
We go around and check them.
So would you have to stick them with something? Or?
No, it's usually right up to the top of the barrel.
Can you visually see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Take the steam off and you can see that they're frozen.
Okay.
And like I say, the guys that got a list of the ones that don't drain, so those 12 or 13, we check quite often during the week.
Alright.
Got one left?
So
That's
we
my
have
ask.
the low ones being the priority, the ones that don't drain being the priority, and the non-break-off types being the priority.
Yeah,
But
see,
the high priority is the one that are too low to the ground,
Right.
because the tools that they have can't open them
Right.
in the jam, because they're kicking the turn off. Try to turn this wrench around or something?
They have a Storz adapter that goes down the front of it, and it needs a certain amount of clearance underneath that 4-inch steamer in order to fit on the valve. And that's what they're putting on the hydrants. That's got its own valve on it, and then it's got a spider off of it so they can run off the hoses off.
Right.
this is the 2014 budget. Capital, 4 hydrants, as we're saying, but $15,000. And it says replace the old wood brand currently 20 in service 4 annually. And then you can look at that a little closer and say, well, if we just buy the hydrants and try to install them ourselves, we can actually get more hydrants. I'm surprised we're only getting 4 done a year. But anyway, here's the schedule for capital over the next, from 2014, FY 2014, I'm sorry, FY 14 to FY 18. This is the capital from last year. This is something that we'll update and bring here to the meeting next week, unless you prefer to review it now. This is the capital improvement plan from the FY 14 budget.
And for the FY 15 budget, we've been working with Weston and Sampson and also with the consortium vendors
For chemicals, you mean?
for our chemicals and for the utility consumption at the plant, and trying to come up with a rough idea of what they expect to use for electricity, what they expect to use for natural gas, which they don't have with the generator and the heat. They've just gotten them turned on. We started reading the gas meter this week at the plant so that we can generate a history of how much gas it's using for the generator exercise. And right now it's just the radiant floor heat in the lab and at the admin building. That the one you're looking for?
I'm looking for the hydrants.
Green.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just don't lose it, that's all. Would you like a copy? Would you like a copy?
No, I was just looking at some of the ones that are in town and what the years were on.
Okay,
So we went through the chemicals that we used over the last 12 months from all our monthly reports. And based on last year's consortium prices, the total cost for chemicals last year was $16,750. That's what we actually spent. The only one that's going to be online of the previous 12 months is well number 2. That pumps about half of the water to the other 2. So if we reduce that by half, we'll come up with an $8,000 budget for well 2 chemicals. Because we're still going to need the sodium hydroxide, we're still going to need the polyphosphate, we're still going to need the chlorine at well 2. 3 and 5 won't have chemicals anymore, they'll all be going through the treatment plant. So I got projections of what they were going to use for chemicals based on the doses that they used on the pilot study, and Weston and Sampson based their quantities on running the plant 11.1 hours a day. And the chemicals for the treatment plant are calculating out at about 34,000. So you got to add those 2 together, and we come up with about 40 grand for chemicals for next year, which is doubling our chemical outlay, our chemical budget.
so you're maintaining the chemicals we use like well 2.
Correct.
You're taking back some out of well 5 and 3,
Correct.
but you're adding something from the treatment plant.
Correct.
And the net difference now is $40,000 more than last year, or?
No, $20,000 more than last year, $22,000 more than last year.
Okay.
Because we're going to be using potassium permanganate, we're going to be using aluminum chlorhydrate, which is about $2.12 a gallon. We're going to be using zinc orthophosphate instead of the polyphosphate that we're using now. We're going to be using citric acid and ascorbic acid. So we've got 5 chemicals that we don't use at this point that are going to be additions just to make the treatment plant run and to clean the treatment plant. In addition, we'll also still be using the polyphosphate at 2. We'll be using sodium hypochlorite at 2 and at the treatment plant. The treatment plant will be buying it in bulk, so the cost of it is a whole lot less, because that'll come in a tanker truck. And the lime, we won't be using at all, so that's gone. But the sodium hydroxide is what we will be using, both at the treatment plant and at well 2.
Okay. So it's going to be a $20,000 increase in the chemical use?
So we're going to get $20,000
Okay.
increase.
All right, so that's not a surprise. Now, we figured some extra money for the last 3 months of this fiscal year about to coming up. Is that factored in as far as the cost increase? You know what I mean?
I think it was probably based on a January 15th finish, because it's my understanding that the contractor is responsible for the first fill. And if we're not going to be filling the tanks and starting to use them till the beginning to middle of next month, the $2,000 chemical charge that we put in last year's budget will probably roll over into the into our enterprise fund free cash. We don't.
The SRF money was, And that's our money we would, but we were looking at budget items for that today, and I believe that was in our regular expenses, and they said that we probably would not use that.
Probably won't.
Yeah.
If the plant had started up in January, we would have run out of the first batch of chemicals and would have had to buy chemicals for a month or two.
Glenn, the first of the year in January.
Yeah.
You spent $9,400 in chemicals. So if you double that till July 1, 19,000, and there's 45,000
Yeah,
in the
but
budget.
we also joined the consortium this year. Things,
No, what I mean is, if you spend $19,000 by the first end of the fiscal year,
correct.
there's 45,000 in the budget. Leaves you $26,000.
I don't think there was 45. I thought there was 25 in the budget.
Said 45 here.
That's better than the copy that I got then.
What's the date on that?
January 13th.
February 6th is the latest issue of the drafts. That's part of the problem I had too, is that we didn't know which one to go. We didn't have the records.
See, I only had 20,000 for the year. On this sheet.
Okay, anyway, this is all,
What date was that?
So I guess the
Stu,
plan
you
we're
got
trying to
my
make, Glenn,
copy?
is that, so we're,
128.13.
are we basing the increase of $20,000 on that were already increased to accommodate the operating of that plant when it was supposed to open up in February?
We're basing it on a 12-month period of operating that plant,
Okay.
based on the
And then the
dosages that they're
Plant
predicting.
and the well.
Correct.
All right, so you know, you're looking at it with a more appropriate basis.
I believe that's yours.
Thank you.
And so when you look at that number compared to what we had last year, what does that difference look like? Is it the 20,000? Okay.
But Stewie's got one, we'll use his budget, because he's got $45,000 in the budget already.
So if that's the case, and you round it off at 20,000, you have 25,000 left, so you have more than enough for fiscal
Yeah.
15,
This is the,
if that's
I
correct.
should say
How
that.
come we get two different budgets here? It's a
We're-
different program?
I said at the beginning, we're really not ready to do this, we're
Okay,
jumping the
all
gun.
right, okay.
I mean, I would.
Let's back off.
We're,
Let's give you guys some more time.
well, it's not that, we want to get accurate numbers. Right now, this is
Yeah.
what Glenn's working on, we haven't put that in, we did have different, like, we had a records issue, but we know, working with the fiscal team today, we straightened most of it out, and that's what they said I'd have by Monday. We can do this better,
Okay,
we can
let's do that.
use the board's time better next Thursday.
Can we briefly go over the capital?
That would be a good idea.
Okay.
Would you like copies of those?
Well, I can go over with, we had a capital plan last year that went for fiscal year 2014. All right, so we come up with these numbers and what we thought would be, expenditures. Now, 4 hydrants for this year. Did we do 4 hydrants? We only did
Not yet.
2.
We want to buy
I
those.
had one guy.
Exactly.
We have time to buy those, we will.
Okay.
What's the
Gate
cost?
valve repair and replacement, we had 2.
We did replace one,
Okay. Which one did
but
we
not one
replace?
of the bad ones. We
Okay.
replaced one of the old ones with the hydrant out on Main Street,
Okay,
because that was one of the ones that was transite pipe.
okay. Is that have anything to do with the cross connection between, I know the one over here in Ipswich isn't quite working properly, or they're afraid to open it up.
Yeah.
Is that the same item as in that?
No, you've got a broken stem on Summer Street that I know of, and I think you got another one.
You're saying that's one you'd like to replace?
Summer Street?
We gotta, figure out which we're gonna do, because, if he's got a broken stem on one, of them, we gotta replace that. We don't wanna be dinking around with that, right?
Right.
So that's gotta be on the books. And then, we were supposed to do it this year, but we didn't have the manpower to do it.
That's what I was gonna ask next, is it possible to do more than the 4 and the 2 valves in the end? You got 3 guys here?
No,
What's the,
you're gonna give me a 4-man road crew, we can go do hydrants all day long.
No, I'm just asking.
With 3 of us, and doing everything else, and when we get the plan online, it's gonna be worse. I've been saying all along, we need 2 more people.
May I?
do we need to do the 2 stems that are broken for gate valves sooner
The
rather
one-
than later?
The one on Independence Street, you at least got valves all around it so that you can isolate it. You add maybe 15 or 20 more houses to shut down if you had a problem in that area. I can't remember, the other one is at the intersection of 133 and 1A that's broken. That's the one.
From the Pancake House.
That's the one that needs to be, it's for 133, I believe. That's the one that needs to be done, but that's a nighttime job and probably somebody with an excavator.
So we just suggesting we might consider hiring it out? Okay. So would that increase the cost on a budget estimate, yeah?
I haven't looked at that budget,
Okay.
I haven't seen that.
So we should plan on doing, what, 2 this year? Okay. And hydrant replacements, we only did 2 last year, should we up the next one to 6? To get on track with what we were trying to do?
No, I'd still try to stick with the 4.
Okay. Cleaning wells, do we redevelop the wells?
3 has been redeveloped, 5 is going to be redeveloped, and
5 is gonna be done by the people building the plant?
correct.
Okay, so we
The only
have,
one that's gotta be redeveloped on our dime is 2. We haven't put out a request for a proposal yet, but because the plant's not going online until middle of April, we can't take 5 offline until the middle of April. Once we've got 5 offline, it'll be down for 4 to 6 weeks. We're looking at the middle of May to the beginning of June. You don't want to take 2 offline for a week, June, July, or August. So we're looking at September, October to get that cleaned.
okay, so we get 1.
With regard to the budget, we can't do that this fiscal year. So what we did do is we've got the VFD drive going to number 2, but we'll have to put it in the capital for next year to do it in the fall. We can't do it, the way everything is set up now, we cannot redevelop that until the fall. It wouldn't be smart, because of the summer months and everything.
I gotcha. So in the fall or, late fall or something, we do well number 2.
Yeah.
Correct.
So there's 1 in there. Is that still 15 grand a pop? We never really,
Probably
I
not.
want to
No,
get
it's
prices this time. I don't want to just,
Well,
Yeah, I've talked to,
it should be $8,000-$10,000 around there.
well, we get 15 for a
3.
budget.
I've talked to 3 well redevelopers so far. I haven't talked to Barry Miller up in Hooksett yet, but just to let them know that it's coming out and to be thinking about it.
Okay.
We believe John Rez, there's 15 grand in there because we believe John Rez put in the VFD drive and the redevelopment on one budget for 1 year. That's why we spent the money on the VFD drive. But there's no time to spend the balance of the money on the redevelopment because we can't carry that money over, so we've got to let it wash out and then put the money in for next fall.
Because it should really be done around
Okay, so
10 or 12.
we
grand.
figured on a roller or a paver. That, we don't need that, that's $5,000.
Not with
What's it?
three of us.
Was that on, we don't have a roller or a paver, do we?
No.
So why do we have that there? I
Because
couldn't.
we was talking at one time, if you remember.
I'm going to make copies of that.
Doing
Okay,
our
that's my
own
copy.
taxes instead of
Can I
sending
have-
it out like we were.
It's getting written on. Can I make some copies of this, please?
Sorry.
That was my clean copy.
I'm sorry. You gotta give me a pencil next time, Mark.
We've,
Remember we were just talking before with the price of the patches and stuff, and we was thinking, well, we was thinking about doing it ourselves.
especially for the small patches, it's, you know,
Yeah, but still.
to get somebody to come in and do it. Action's been good. They've come in and done the little ones for us.
I don't know if we need that.
No, we don't use it, no, we, you know, guys.
We gotta can that idea.
We don't want to be in the asphalt business.
No.
They can. do
If you're gonna
something.
hire a road crew, then I could see it. You know, to go around and replace all these gate paps that are broken, all the gate boxes that are low, to do all of that kind of stuff. I think you could almost justify it, but you'd have to have a crew that's out there at least once or twice a week to justify the cost of it, in my opinion.
Any way we can hire temporary help to get some of this stuff knocked off?
Hello, Action Paving.
Yeah, well, it's contract.
Hello, TW Excavating. Hello, Rockaway.
No.
We're trying to work with the highway department's been going around to try to take care of some of the manholes, drain, catch basins, and we're trying to get them risers for the gates that are down where they're going by and paving and patching. We bought 4 of them for Haverhill Street, but then the weather came in and they quit their paving projects.
Okay, wait till Mark gets back here. Because all we got to really home in tonight is this 2015. Thank you. Okay, so the next one is the air compressor. Do we really need an air compressor, or do we need to just maintain the air compressor we have?
We don't need one.
None of that, I was bored and it hung around.
Okay. There was some talk that there was something wrong with it or about to blow. Remember what that was? Right.
It was getting so that we were having a hard time getting parts for it, but we found somebody else that was able to get the parts for it.
Okay, so I guess, do you guys think do we need a newer, we need a replacement? I don't think so. Want to scratch that one?
Yes.
We need to start thinking about replacing some trucks.
Mhm.
Okay, so how do you guys feel about that?
Look at it this year, you cannot afford it.
What do you think, Roy?
What we gotta do is
Those-
keep a better accurate thing of what we're putting into, like we did the transmission in this 350 that we're talking about.
Rob's got the list of everything that's been done to all the trucks in the last.
No, but I mean, it's gonna get to the point where we keep
I
patching
don't
up
know
on
if he's got
requests.
costs for it, that's it. At what point does it break?
I mean, if they're like that and the dump truck, the one ton, I mean, you're not gonna get anything for
Trading on it.
trading at all. So if we can keep them going for another year or two,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, what we're using the big dump truck for, I don't see any reason to go out and buy any one of them. The 1 ton with a dump, that's a different story.
Depends on what it's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you pretty close to $5,000 to get the new motor put in it.
You ain't gonna need a new motor.
You don't think so?
All right, so
I'm
let's
hoping
just,
we get
let's
that
look
running
at the,
pretty quick, 'cause we
so-
got some CDL licenses.
do we want to talk about this next week, or whether we need a new truck, or look at, with the data that Rob's got, to see what kind of,
Well, we know 5's gotta get replaced. And if we
I'm against,
take the 1 ton down to try to trade it in on something, right now.
Which one's
you
fun?
might- The 1 ton dump truck. You might get something for it.
I'm against any new trucks this year. We got hit hard, and we have to take it easy for a while, build the trust of the townspeople.
No, I'm just saying it gets to a point, Stu, and you know as well as I do.
I understand what you're
You know,
saying,
Do
but
we keep patching or do we?
we go easy this year.
all right, so the proposal from last year was to replace the 2003 truck, so that would be 11 years old right now. So, and of course, they're better made, these vehicles, so.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we gotta watch our numbers, It gets to a point where, is it worth putting money into it?
Let's think about it and talk about it next meeting, okay?
Tobacco, I don't see any reason for that.
That's no reason.
No, I don't see anywhere.
Scratch that.
Okay, so, is there anything else that we could use, that we need, that we should be looking at?
One more.
A lawnmower?
Yes, that one, we were having problems with that.
What's the matter with it?
Like I
Doesn't
still
go unless you
get
got
all
enough
the time.
duct tape on it, and then it
Excuse me?
doesn't go unless you got enough duct tape on it, and then you gotta have it even for it to go straight.
That means you need an engine or?
You know, it's just the controls are all coming apart on it, and I'd like to see us get a small mower so that we can get in and out of the stations. We can't get that big one with the dolly on it in around the stations.
What are you talking, just a push mower or?
Just pick up a push mower. Of course, we also need a mower for the mower. You know,
Well, that's gonna be,
variety.
it's gonna be a summer help issue.
Are we gonna do summer help? That's not a budget, okay, I'll keep that.
Can we do year-round help so we can, if he's not mowing lawns, you can shovel hydrants?
No.
You're not gonna hire labor.
I think so.
May I brought up I have not personally been able to see in detail what the staffing is or isn't. I'm relying on Glenn and others and just I haven't had a chance to really get my elbows dirty and roll up my sleeves and get into it. I brought it up this afternoon and at the fiscal team meeting, and the town administrator said that this was something that was determined and approved by a previous board, and we're under the impression we have enough people. But
No,
I said
that was
then,
not what we said.
okay, but anyway, it needs to be looked at. And things to consider are the fact that we've had a turnaround. Everybody's new. We're ramping up. We've got a new treatment plant going on. I said that right now the two most important things that are going on are the budget and a comprehensive duty list, a systematized list of work that needs to be done so we can do some type of analysis on what is routine work versus what is specialized work. And we're gonna, we've got to justify an additional person anyway. So I'm already working on the paperwork to do that, and we can come to a better decision when we have the
You
data.
need a good all-around guy who can
Yeah. It
sweep-
seems we're
sweep
short
the
of this
driveway,
one
mow
person.
the grass, paint the hydrant,
It seems we're short at least one person, but I'm in the process of trying to prove that.
I want to see what the draft numbers are before we make decisions on it, because I'd be surprised that if you're going up in a few categories, but I'm not sure about the total overall impact of the budget, which would impact the rates. So we need
You're
to-
gonna go up a bundle on electric costs for the plant.
Yeah,
You're gonna go up a bundle on natural gas for the plant, the generator. It's probably gonna be 10 grand.
the electricity, I'm scared of the numbers that I'm hearing.
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at the numbers.
Before we spend much money, we had some debt coming down here. I'd like to see this wiped out. One's almost done. There's another one coming down, bring you low interest. Get rid of that loan shortly. This building's almost finished. I may feel different about it then, but we have to get rid of some debt.
What are the interest rates on some of those? Pretty low, or are some of them 4 or 5%? I don't know.
Well, I don't know what the interest is on them, what the interest rate is on them. But one here's almost wiped out.
At the meeting, when we go over the budget, I mean, really go over the budget, I'll make sure everybody has the right number of copies and papers, so everyone,
There was
we all have individual papers now looking at different things.
Yeah, this thing doesn't look that familiar with me, because we had taken off some of these items for 2014, so we had canned them, so we came up with a different number, I think. I don't think we planned on replacing the truck. The dump trucker had a loader on there, so we had put the things on hold. Was those spreadsheets that had the hold?
Yeah, they have them on hold.
Yeah.
I've seen the problem, part of the problem is I've seen 3 different copies of that, or different versions of that. And
Why don't you take next week and get everything, so we get the right paperwork to go over for the meeting?
this is what I've been working on, and at least make it so that each of you have the same paperwork,
Okay.
so that we're not,
Well, you got a flavor, we'll introduce the subject tonight, you got a flavor for
Yeah.
where we're going with this stuff, and so maybe just kind of, keep that in the back of your mind when you're working on it, okay?
I guess the vehicles aren't too bad. At the end of December, it was $722 spent on maintenance.
we're not, we're on track to be not over budget. We're not over budget on many items, if any. There's a couple where they might be minimally over something like that, but generally speaking, we have enough, as long as we make sure that we don't assume that this was a normal year, which it wasn't, and then shoot ourselves in the foot by cutting back too much. It seems like we can cut back on some of the things. That a level budget means the same number going up or down, so I'm not sure how that will work out, but this is why we're getting a budget, a draft budget put together for early next week to be reviewed by individual and collective members of the fiscal team. And then we'll meet here Thursday night with something a little bit more easy for you to adjust. I mean, this was a good spend, a good use of time for this, for the
I'd like to,
capital improvement plan.
okay, do we have any other items we can talk
One,
about? Fran?
just one more, if I may. I've got from the fiscal team meeting today, I received the package from Penachuk, the scope of work and everything. It's the first time I've seen it, other than briefly at the selectmen's meeting. And the schedule goes something like this. On March 20th, we'll have the final readings on our current system. And on March 21st, we'll switch over to the Penachuk system. In terms of operations, our operations crew will be unchanged in what we do.
Okay, you're saying the 20th will have,
Uh,
are you planning on meter readings on the 20th? Is that what you're talking about, final readings?
It may be so, not sure. But that is
It's a
when,
week short.
right, well, it's when we're gonna do the flip to the other system.
I think that they just take the thumb drive and give it to that company,
Mhm.
and they take it from
And
there.
then
Well, that's what we do, we take
Yeah.
the thumb drive,
You give it to
We
Jeanette
plug
or
it in.
whatever, well, I got
we
it.
drive it around, then we plug it in down here.
Good.
Karen
Yeah.
gets into it
Yeah, they
remotely.
take it from there, but now Penachuk's gonna take it from there. I think, but I could be wrong.
They're gonna take it on 321 Penachuk's coming over. It's not too detailed, it's just a date when it's gonna happen.
Okay.
The details are that the operations crew will be no change. The administrative assistant will have some relief on collecting and processing the bills. So you'll have some more time to do some other things. We'll still handle the cash, anything that comes in cash. We can still receive bills here. They would be sent to Pennachuck, but what we'll do is we'll bundle them daily and send them there. So you'll do that, but you'll still have more time for other administrative duties, filing letters, whatnot, help, just being, your life's gonna get a little easier, that's what it boils down to,
Okay.
and that's it.
People will still have to come in here and pay the bills there.
People can still bring their bill here. We will bundle them together and we will not process them, we'll ship them on a daily basis to Pennachuck.
So they won't be getting posted here then?
They're posted as in, on the computer system, no, they will not be, yes.
Now, what are we doing with cash?
We're processing
Receipts.
cash.
So we're gonna process and post cash here?
Generally speaking, yes. I'm not
Or are we
sure.
gonna process, okay. A question.
Operations,
A
no
question
change.
to ask.
Operations, no change. Administration, change. Okay.
Okay. It seems to be an item here too, training for the water treatment plant. When do you start training on that thing now?
As soon as somebody says so. We're hopefully gonna start, the beginning of April. It was supposed to be March 24th.
Is the other gentleman we had help us out in our time of need, is he available on a temporary part-time stuff to help us
For
out
April?
there?
Yeah,
Okay,
April, May. I say bring them in here on a part-time all the time.
Stu was at the
is he
last.
interested in doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, we can work with,
Yeah, I got his schedule, I gave it to Mark.
all right, we can talk about that.
He's gonna be away at the end of this month and the
Is he
beginning
going
of
to Turkey
April.
this time?
No, I think he's going down to Caribbean this time.
He went, what did he go? He went to
Morocco.
Morocco or something.
So nice
Wow.
thing about being retired,
How do you like Morocco? That must have been fun.
he had a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
said
interesting.
he enjoyed it.
Okay, so, anything else?
Yeah, Stu was at the last construction review meeting, and that's where we discussed training in detail. We did confirm that week that what we told the board, the select board, that we saw for our own eyes, went to the treatment plant and saw that it is pretty much there is some confidence that it'll be done when we say it's going to be done. There's two types of training. When each piece of equipment gets put installed, there'll be like an afternoon training on each piece of equipment. And then the second training will be when the plant runs together, run by a representative of Weston Sampson. That will be a week-long training. That's specifically what we need. Dennis Bajorian? I couldn't think of his name. Bajorian, okay, yeah. That's what we need, Dennis.
Okay.
They're pretty confident it'll be up and running the third week in April.
Yeah. But the thing is, when do we start producing water is another question, because it goes up, but there's a couple of unknowns there.
Okay,
Once we start producing water with it, we'll be pumping it to waste. We'll probably be dumping it in one of the big retention basins for the drainage, one of the drainage lagoons. And until DEP approves the water that we're pumping out of it for consumption, we won't be able to take 5 offline. And once we get 3 online, 3 is producing about twice as much water as it was. So we should be able to put 3 online, and it should carry us through the spring as 3 and 5 we're doing well. They take 5 down, because there's 6 wells at 5 that have to be cleaned. The purchase rec that I just handed to Mark is for the vents that never got installed on the pump heads. We're gonna get those installed on them,
good.
so that hopefully we can avoid the bacteria coming through the wells to start with. But they'll be going through the membrane filters, pre-chlorination, post-chlorination. So bacteria should not be an issue in the system ever again.
Good.
The manganese will be removed, and right now, DEP has changed the regulation on manganese levels. And right now, it's a recommendation, and as of July 1st, it will be a mandate that everybody's got to get their manganese levels below 0.3. So we're ahead of the game because the plant will do that.
Good.
What are we now?
0.3 to 0.4 in parts of town. Well 5 is high in manganese. Well 3 and 5 are high in manganese, but 3's been offline now for, well, since the middle of January.
Okay, so, I guess, do we have a motion to
Make a
adjourn?
motion, we adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.